This is Loke and Sune from Alm Brand. They are going to walk us through how they've shifted about 100 applications over to Docker. They've actually got a demo for us as well. They don't have Lego figures to offer to the demo gods, so everybody cross your fingers. And then we'll have some time at the end for questions as well. You'll notice the microphones here. I think all the rooms probably have them, so you've probably seen this before. But if you do have questions at the end, please step up to the microphone so that we can record your questions. They can hear your questions, and then we'll get everything recorded as well. So without further ado, guys, take it away.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So welcome to our talk. We're going to be talking about how we've been shipping and shifting nearly 100 apps with Docker Enterprise Edition. We were told to bring slides. We wanted to make a demo but we had to bring slides, so here they are. A short agenda. We'll talk about who we are, and then what situation we are coming from, and then what we're trying to do with this, and then we'll show you the demo, then a quick wrap-up, and then we're ready for questions. So,
my name is Loke. I'm a system specialist at Alm Brand. I live here in Copenhagen. I've been living here for 8 years roughly, and I've been working at Alm Brand for the last 3 years. And my mantra is automate everything because I'm a lazy guy. So I really just want to automate everything and make my day easier.
And I am Sune, I'm an IT architect, and I also live in Copenhagen. I've lived here all my life, and I've been working for a shocking 6 years at Alm Brand. I was really surprised to find my first hiring email. And my mantra is automate. Loke said that, but anyway, I also like to automate stuff. A quick overview of Alm Brand. We're a financial corporation with banking, insurance, pension, and car leasing. And we are the oldest company to present at DockerCon.
Yeah, so suck it, MetLife.
Yep. From 1792. We're currently around 1,600 employees nationally. We only operate in Denmark. And our name, which is abbreviated here, Alm Brand, is for Almindelig Brand. It means general fire. Yeah. Not like general from the army, but anyway, it means we used to start with fire insurance. Now it's like across the whole board.
So where do we come from? Why are we doing this? We have been running WebLogic for, I think, about the last 8 years. Our clusters were fairly large, and our applications, they were all running in the same JVM. So you could imagine we had a fair amount of problems with that. If one app crashed, it could affect the whole JVM, and therefore also all of our other applications running. Or it could just hang the whole cluster, and that was not really a good thing. So for me, when I started, I had a very hard time actually identifying what application was having a hard time, because it affected everything in the cluster. And our deploy queues for our WebLogic systems were painfully it was horrible because we had to sometimes restart servers after application deployments. The queue system was horrible because we could only deploy one application at a time against the cluster, and our environment was pretty static because we really had no way to scale up apps independently. We could have two versions or one version across the cluster. So we were running 2 machines, so that meant 2 applications. And that was it.
And then we introduced Docker when the need arose for a better platform for supporting higher throughput instead of those long deploy queues, newer technologies, and increased stability and isolation so that apps crashing wouldn't affect each other so badly. And then Loke and I went to DockerCon EU in Barcelona 2015, and that's when Docker Universal Control Plane and Docker Trusted Registry were first announced. And the fact that was announced together with enterprise support made it possible for us to sell this internally.
Because it had a GUI now, so
yeah,
the management loved that.
Single pane of glass.
Yes,
yeah, sells anything. So since then we've deployed tens of brand new greenfield stateless services to production in the first year of running it. And right now we have about 50 of those. But we're here to talk about legacy applications. So that's the rest of the 100. So what we're trying to do is
what are we trying to do? We're trying to leverage all the work we've already done with our greenfield applications and use that as a base for our whole migration. And one of the major things here I really want to get you all to focus on is that we wanted to switch over from our legacy applications over to our Dockerized legacy applications during work hours. That was the main focus, and it should have as little an impact as possible for our users internally and externally. We're gonna try and figure out all of the configuration drift we've had over 8 years we've been running WebLogic, and trying to identify, okay, this application needs these specific configurations on the application server to run. So it was a trial and error when we started this and figuring out what were the requirements for our legacy applications.
I can make a quick remark there. That's because we used to have a few very large servers which were configured over all those years for all the different apps that they were running, and now we started off a fresh base image with the default configurations, and we needed to figure out if there were any of those settings on the old server that actually was required for any of these apps, and then we would enable them at the right time.
Yeah, and another main point here is we didn't want to change the code. The code should not be changed as much as possible, because it was infrastructure thing. It was we were going to configure the application server, and that was it. So we could easily just move over.
Yeah. So a brief overview of the main components involved here in this in Almindelig Brand. You'll see that we have some tools for building and deploying. We have logging with Elasticsearch, Logstash, and Kibana. We've got Prometheus and Grafana for metrics. And we're running Docker Enterprise Edition so that we can have that nice shiny GUI and LDAP authentication. And then what we're going to spend the rest of the talk about is mostly the service discovery and runtime configuration layer. So we're cutting down the number of components for the demo. We basically took our real environment and tried to replicate that for a demo, both for the purpose of simplicity and also because we are not licensed to run WebLogic servers on DockerCon. So this is how it's going to look. So we're going to build and deploy the app in GitLab with GitLab CI. And inside the container, we'll have a Spring application, which should represent the legacy app, and some of the legacy-like features that a legacy app has. And then we'll still use Elasticsearch, Logstash, and Kibana for logging. And finally, you'll see that from the previous slide, we moved up Docker Swarm. Right now, at Almindelig Brand, we are using classic Swarm mode, but in the demo, we are using Swarm mode services so that we can take advantage of the load balancing from that. So, without further ado, almost, here we go. So, the main point to take away from this talk, if you don't get any of the rest of it, is that if you want to start moving legacy applications over, you can actually do it gradually. And to do that, you would want to put a load balancer or reverse proxy in front of what you have today, so that you can send some traffic to the legacy servers and some traffic to a containerized app and be in control of how much traffic goes there.
Yeah. And this is like the main thing you need to take with you. These are two separate clusters. The legacy servers don't know about the Docker cluster, and the Docker cluster doesn't know about the legacy servers. Yeah. And that's the main point. That's why we have like a big line there in between them.
Right. So a quick overview of the demo. We'll give a short intro to the legacy app, what it does. Then a quick run through the Docker Compose file, the stack definition there. Then we'll move the legacy app to the Docker platform, and then we'll start moving traffic to the new app while it's running. And when we're happy with how it looks, we will remove the old one running on the legacy server. So, time for the demo.
No more slides. Yay.
So, this is the monolith. The real monolith has lots of great features and is used by lots of employees every day. This one has one feature, which is you can go and look up a list of SQL queries that you can then copy and paste into your editor or other tool of choice. And then, since it's kind of a checklist sort of task that you need to do one thing, and then the next thing, and then the third thing, and you have to make sure you did all the things, when you go and click through to a query, and you go back to the screen, you'll see a little asterisk here marking that you've already been there. So we are saving this information in state, in the session state, so that your user can, well, keep track of what they've been doing. And this reflects how our real legacy apps maintain a lot of data in memory about the session for the user, and if that session breaks, they basically lose the work they made so far.
Classic old legacy app.
Yeah. So you'll also see that we're coming through HA proxy here. You'll notice we have this domain name here, which we are using for the demo, and then a subdomain for the environment, and a subdomain for the app. And you'll see here the host name serving this page right now is called Old Legacy, and it's coming through HA proxy, right? And here's the session cookie, so you can see that it remains the same when I refresh the page, right? So a quick run through the compose file here. Aside from the components that I showed on the slides, we have made a small bootstrapper application that helps us set up the demo so everything is connected. And then there's another component which I call Swarm HA Proxy. It's a kind of a quick hack to take events from Swarm and to take keys from console and make everything connected so that HA Proxy's configuration is always up to date with the services that have been started and with the information that we have put in console. Then we have a service catalog application, which is an in-house app we use to get an overview of the deployed containers with some custom information that we use in our everyday, and an API that serves as a backend for that catalog application. We also have a runner for building and deploying from GitLab. We have a console for service catalog and key value store. We have HA Proxy itself for reverse proxying. We've got Registrator for telling console about what containers are running on each Docker host. We've got GitLab for, well, storing Git things in it and starting the deploy jobs. We've got Elasticsearch for storing the logs. We've got Kibana for seeing the logs, and we've got Logstash for sending the logs over to Elasticsearch. So, we have prepared a little branch here from our app so that we can containerize it. You'll see there are a number of files here that we have to create to containerize the app. One is a GitLab CI file that tells how do we build this app and how do we deploy it. Then there's a Docker file that tells how to build the image. There's a Docker Compose file for keeping both the building and deployment as declarative as possible. And then there's an entry point script which starts FileBeat and then the app. FileBeat is a little program that can ship logs from files over to Logstash and then to Elasticsearch. I'll take a quick look at the Docker file here. You'll see we're using multi-stage builds that were introduced earlier this year. So we use the Maven base image for building. Then we use a different container just to download FileBeat and make some settings on that and add the configuration for FileBeat. And then we are using a plain JRE image for adding in the application, the entry point, and the configuration for FileBeat. The compose file follows a little structure here that we use for the app so that we can know the name of the service and the environment that it's going to run in and so on. That's about it.
So, let's play a little game. Before, we had a merge request for the Dockerization.
Oh, right.
We need to merge that.
Let's go and merge it.
Because I'm the ops guy, I want to get this deployed to development.
Right, let's just go check that the pipeline kicked off. There it is.
So that's running. Cool. And it's building and everything. Yeah, perfect. Try and go down one. I should be able to see shortly in our service catalog the applications coming up. It takes a couple seconds usually. So what's happening? What does Sune just do? He started a merge. That merge kicked off a deployment to our Docker cluster with our development app, our app for development. So it's popped up here. That's perfect. I can see we have 3 instances running. That's more than before. It's our DockerCon EU 2017 app. That looks right. So this has now been deployed to our Docker cluster. So that's great. That's cool. So again, I'm the ops guy. I want to check the logs for this application. Because we Dockerized it, we standardized it a bit more so we could get all of the logging out and put into Elasticsearch. Instead of having it locally on the application server, where if I had to debug it, I had to go in, find the log, try and filter it out. And before we had hundreds of, or 50, 100 applications logging to the same log file. It was horrible debugging. Now, I can see here that I'm actually filtering an app and only showing my specific app here, and only the development one. And I can see here, hey, this looks fine, info level, no errors here, standard boot ups that it always works for our applications, of course. They can always start. Let's go over and have a look at the application. If you see here, this is the development application. It's running in dev. So this is the Dockerized one. Let's just do an update here. That looks fine. Looks like it's working. Yeah, it's working here, but I can see it.
Right, that's because you were working already, so you already been there. So,
yeah,
to be able to check out the new version, you should go clear your cookies.
Yeah.
So that anybody else who doesn't want to check out the new version yet can keep working on the legacy server.
Because I had a session, because I was on this application before. So let's update this one, and let's have a look here. It's still the same.
Let's probably check the traffic percent.
Let's try and go back here. Update this and do it correctly. Okay, so we're getting all of our traffic over to our old application server, and we shouldn't actually have that.
I'll give this a quick check out. Just a moment.
We're going to just double check here.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I've got a quick idea here.
Again, always fun with a live demo. Sometimes stuff goes wrong. Fair enough.
Just a moment.
So this is always fun.
Oh, yeah.
What you were going to see here was that our Dockerized application wasn't actually working correctly. It should have shown an error.
Right, so I think we have it now.
Yeah, let's try again.
Yay!
Okay.
Fail.
Cool.
That's great.
Fixed it.
Fix it so that now we can fail. Yeah.
So now this is all the traffic. All of the traffic is hitting our Dockerized application, our legacy application, but it's failing. Oh, that's
luckily
not
it's only
good.
in development.
Yeah, but it's only in development. And that's not good. So I think I'm going to send all traffic back to our old legacy development cluster, because apparently the new containerized version doesn't work. So
yeah. We're going to look into that. So maybe I can try and fix that too.
Yeah.
Just a sec. So let's see. There it is. That's the stack trace there that tells what the error is. So
try zooming in a bit.
Yeah, I should probably do that, and then I should probably maximize that. So you'll see it says something about file not found exception. SQL queries directory is missing. This should never happen. Log into the server and investigate. But wait, we're in Docker now. We don't have like a permanent server. So I guess what I'll do is, right, I remember now because it's like 5 years ago before Loke started. That's the last time we touched this app. And I think there's something like that. There has to be a directory with some files in it.
Or it fails.
Or else it fails, right? Right. So let's see if we can whip up a quick fix here. Right, so... Yeah, I've been cheating a bit here, so it's ready. So what we're doing now is we're going to add a few nice query files in there. Nobody ever touches these files anyway. I mean, they've been the same for 5 years, so we'll add them to the Docker image for now, but in the future we could probably put them in console and get them dynamically from there. But just to fix the app so people can keep working, and we can finish this Dockerization. Right, so let's see, that should kick off, should show up here. Right, so let's make a merge request.
So that's your fix for the legacy application in Docker.
Yeah, because there were some assumptions that we made that really were not right, that everything was going to be the same, and there was this shared folder on the legacy server, and this is just quicker to just make the app work in Docker, and then we can do something smarter than having a static folder on an old server. Right, so let's see. We'll make the merge request ready here. And you'll see it's already deploying to development. So let's see how it goes. Yeah, it's deployed.
Cool.
Did you try it out again in development?
Yeah, I'm gonna switch back and send all the traffic to the containerized version because you just told me you fixed it. So I'm gonna believe you because I'm that kind of operations guy. I'm going to update this. I'm going to remove my old tokens I had here.
Let's try with an incognito. I had that issue with Firefox before.
Okay, so I'm going to open a private browser here and get this one over. Not that one. I see.
Funny app switcher here.
There. Haha. Because I want to get a new session. And let's see here. Cool. So if I go in, it actually works. And I can see here I'm coming in through HA proxy. The hostname is a classic Docker hostname, so that's perfect. So my traffic is actually ending over on our containerized version, and it works. Let's see, cool. And we have our files here. That's really cool. So I'm going to say that this works.
So you think we can just push it to production now?
Yeah, I'm going to say that's probably a thing we're going to do now, yeah.
Okay, but that's going to kick people off their sessions, right?
I'm sorry?
I mean, that's going to kick people off that are working right now in production.
No, because right now we have all of the traffic going over to our legacy system in production.
Yeah, we did do that.
I can deploy this application during office hours and test in production, but on our Dockerized version.
Let's see if it shows up here.
So let's see. There was a
That's the right one.
Merge here. 49.
Should be okay.
Yeah. I have a manual action one here.
Oh, is it actually merged? We didn't merge the merge request.
We didn't merge the merge requests, of course.
Let's go to that. Merge.
See, we always forget one thing.
At least one thing.
So now we're merging the fix into the branch, or the master.
Yep.
It's going to build here. And when it's ready, I'm going to get a step like this one down here, where I can deploy my application to production.
Do it from there. It's going to be there.
So let's see when this one is ready. In the meantime, we can go over here in the service catalog, and we can see, well, we still have our old development containers here, our Dockerized legacy app running. When this build is done, I can deploy it to production.
You click and see how it's going.
Yeah, let's see here.
Oh, it's done now.
It's just done now. Almost done.
Interesting. Click into the pipeline, see if it's...
See, haha, now it's done. So I'm going to say, well, let's deploy this to production.
Let's do it.
Let's deploy. So now we kicked off the build and deployment to, the build is done. Now this is the deployment to our Docker cluster, but for our production part of the application. So if we go over here again to the service catalog, it's going to update in a couple of seconds, maybe 10 seconds. And then we are going to see our production-ready application over here. And remember, we're not sending any traffic over. 100% of the traffic is going over to our legacy systems. So you can see here, I'm just going to sort by name here. We have free apps running, or free containers running with the production application. It's passing, so that's great. You know what? I'm going to say, let's send some traffic over. Let's say we're going to send 50% of all the traffic over to our Dockerized application now. So 50% of all of our production traffic over.
Right. Then I just hope that, and then if anything fails, we can turn back down to 0 and fix the bug if there's any more bug. And then,
So let's go in here.
Oh, look.
I have a session over already, because again, I was lucky, and it's 50% of all traffic. But you can see here that this is our production environment. So if I can remove my cookies, I can't right now.
Just do it.
Firefox.
Yeah. All right. Copy the URL.
Yeah. We should be able to.
There you go.
See, new session, 50%. So logically, I should hit the old legacy system. Let's just test the old one and see if it actually works here. So this was.
This is in development. You want to go down there?
There, production. Haha. Let's test here. Hey, the production works. So this is the containerized. No, that's not the containerized version.
Yeah.
Remove the cookie, please.
I will remove the cookie.
See there. Haha.
And let's see. That was
almost.
Right. Isn't there something like? Too many windows, right?
Yeah, way too many windows.
I think it's because we still have the incognito somewhere else.
There
we go. Nice.
Let's test this one. The funny thing about session state.
Oh, yeah.
So this works. So I'm happy now. Let's just send 100% of the traffic over.
Yep.
For me, that's perfect. We were not there. Not there. Haha. There. Let's just send 100% over to our containerized version. So the legacy system, legacy servers, 0%. I don't want anything over there.
So I guess we could basically just go and turn off the app on the old server then.
Yeah, we could. Should we do that?
Why not?
And we cheated. Have the old legacy system here.
Yeah, I think you may need to sign in again. So go into here. Yeah.
SSH timeout.
Oh, great. This is going to be fun. Do we have it up there? We have it there. We don't have it there. Do you remember the address?
Try your history.
Yeah. Nope. Okay, we would have liked to, but we can't. Because we don't remember the IP. Anyway.
We always forget the...
We need something else to get rid of it. So what we can do is we can go and remove the fallback group from the config here. So you'll see that it refers to the production configuration, like the legacy server group here. If we remove this, it's no longer going to be able to know where to send any traffic unless it's for the containerized version of the app.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's that. So a quick summary of the demo. We introduced the demo app. We gave a quick run through the stack file, showed you the extra components we made. We made a branch for containerizing the app. Then we deployed it. Then we saw it in the service catalog. Then we showed the logs coming up in Kibana. Then we found an error in the app. we quickly switched over all traffic to the legacy server, which is still running. Then we deployed the fix. We switched traffic back to Docker, so that it was working. Then we merged the fix and deployed it to production. And then we started with 50%, and we could have started with 1% or whatever we wanted to. And then gradually we could increase the amount of traffic going to the Dockerized version. And in real life, what we would do is, after increasing it in increments of 10% over a week perhaps, then once it would be stable for 2 weeks or so on 100%, then we would turn off the old servers, and not just like half a minute later, right? So that's it. So the impact of what we've done here is not just one app. We've been migrating 39 legacy apps, and we've gone from 26 very complicated and brittle VMs to 12 quite simple VMs. We have far fewer service interruptions because everything is isolated from each other. And we have much more precise and informed troubleshooting available to us because we have aggregated logging, and everything is controlled the same way, both greenfield and legacy applications. We've got logs and metrics collected from both these sources, and we can see them in the same place. And I guess some of this work was something we did just because we were touching the apps after all, but it's a really great moment to pick up those optimizations. We started with this in January this year. In March, we deployed to production the first time, and in April, we undeployed the main monolithic app from the legacy system, so that was gone. And today, we've migrated 33 apps to production, and we have 6 more waiting and 10 that need to be migrated. We're using Docker Enterprise Edition with UCP, so this is how it looks. You can see we have lots of containers there. This is the service catalog. You see on the scroll bar that it's very small, so that's because we have a very long list of deployments here. And this is a screenshot of our actual real production app with this nice little Docker container ID as the server name.
So yeah, what's next? What are we going to do? We're probably going to have a look at the Docker EE Advanced because we really want to consolidate our UCP clusters. The design we have now is it's not perfect. That was what we could do when we started, but we really want to use EE Advanced for some of the more advanced features. We're actually going to use Swarm or maybe Kubernetes now, depends. And we're going to have a good hard look at all of our existing and upcoming VMs, Windows VMs. And we might have a look at image to Docker, really depending on the servers and the applications running on them. Yep. And we're going to compare some of the service mesh technologies.
Like you had it sounds more possible now. Well, not now, but Q1 next year, right? That's what they said. Yeah,
for Kubernetes, yeah. And we're gonna probably expand this platform, the Docker platform, to become like the self-service platform for any of our workloads in the company. It's a dream that some people have, and we're slowly getting there. Yep. So that's Docker really helped us with this. We couldn't do this if Docker hadn't been around.
That's right. So that's all. Questions?
Yeah, just a reminder, if you want to ask questions, there's microphones here kind of spread out. Just step up to a mic. Right here's one in the center if you want to.
Right, so your talk was blah, 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 something, and then E with focus on the Enterprise Edition. Could you perhaps, because I'm really interested in how you're exploiting the features of the Enterprise Edition now.
Right, so quite briefly, right now we have one cluster per stage, and we have 4 stages, development, testing, pre-prod, and production. And what we're using it for is authentication, so that anybody who wants to work with any of the containers have to be authenticated to do so. We also carry through the authentication from our Jenkins servers, which we're using for deploying some of the apps, and this way we can enforce the policy that it's only Loke who can actually deploy it to production, and I can maybe be lucky to get to view something. And I guess that's the main thing. I mean, it's also connected to our LDAP server, so we can choose what people can actually do stuff based on their group memberships. That's the main thing. And then, of course, it also matters to have an authenticated registry, which is part of the package. And what Loke talked about consolidating is that we want to merge these clusters into one, but then we need to have the advanced edition, because then we can put permissions on individual nodes, and we can keep our production nodes in the cluster, but invisible for everybody else than ops.
So it's still going to be only me that can deploy to production.
Yes, you'll still be king.
Yeah, I'll still be king.
Does that answer your question? Right.
Anyone else?
Any other questions? Nope.
Nope.
Right. Thank you.